We are still on vacation in Paris, so if you want to see updated photos, hang out to the end of today's video. Let's dive in. Hi, Sunny. Question for you. Can you share your experience as an American in the mainly Russian-dominated field of dance sport here in the United States? Was it ever hard for you, and did you ever feel like you were at a disadvantage not being Russian? Or did you ever try to learn a language? I feel like wherever I go, comps, camps, lessons, I always hear people speaking Russian, even during the lessons. I find myself the odd man out who has no idea what they're saying. I've also found most of the pros and even amateurs represented the United States weren't actually born in the United States. Or perhaps they're first-generation Americans whose parents immigrated from the Soviet Union. Almost everyone at the comps has Russian-sounding names. It seems there aren't many of us in the circuit, other than maybe some Utah dancers, that are just American and don't speak Russian. Okay, so obviously this person is competing at a little bit of a higher level, and in syllabus, definitely a random mixture of Americans and people of all nationalities and ethnicities. When you get to that championship level, our viewer here is spot on. There is a predominance of dancers from the former Soviet republics and Eastern Europe. So back in my day, certainly Russia, but Moldova, Ukraine, Poland. So yes, absolutely. And in my posse that I rolled with, where we took from the same coaches, we went to all the international comps together, we shared hotel rooms, they were mostly Russian. And so here's my personal experience. Number one, my Russian friends noticed this too. As a matter of fact, a couple of them straight up said to me, Sunny, what's the deal? Why don't any of the Americans take this seriously like you do? Because of course I was dropping every penny I had, just like they were, and constantly on the hop going to these different coachings across the world and comps. But anyway, yeah, that is true. Do I think it hurt my marks? Actually, no. As a matter of fact, I felt like perhaps people were almost secretly rooting for me, like the underdog. Oh my gosh, finally, I don't want to use this term condescendingly, a real American that's going to compete for the United States. So no, I absolutely never felt discriminated against. Now, truth be told, I have got wind of some accusations of nationality discrimination recently on the international dance sport circuit, in terms of two countries that are at war right now, and perhaps judges not marking the dancers from the country that their home country is at war with, which sucks. The politics in dancing is hard enough, let alone bringing government politics in. This is quite unusual in my experience in 40 plus years in the dance world, but apparently this might be an issue right now. Not speaking from personal experience, I've certainly never been subjected to that, but Okay, next up, true story. And this is kind of funny. When I first started out competing at the championship level and competing internationally, no one knows who you are yet. So when they would call the finalists to the floor, they would be like, and Sunye Paj. They come up with these crazy pronunciations for my name, like, nope, just an American, plain old Sunny Page, just like it looks like. So I still get a chuckle out of that to this day. Okay, next up. I always felt respected as a dancer for my hard work, for my dedication, and certainly feeling a kindred spirit with the other dancers, and that includes all the judges who at one time were competing hardcore like I was, and we all share that love of dancing, and we've all encountered the same hurdles, and yeah, I felt nothing but a kinship with them. Okay, next up, as for the language, no, I never made an effort to learn Russian. Now, honestly, I picked up some phrases just because I would hear them over and over and over and over again, but certainly never deliberately. And when you have that posse that you roll with, and these are usually based on who you're taking coaching with, you end up traveling everywhere as a group, you stay at the same hotel, you watch each other's backs at the comp. Hey, Sonny, I forgot my earrings. Can you cover me? Yeah, here you go, borrow these. We're genuinely friends, and as such, they were very courteous to me in terms of the language. Even if I was sitting at a table completely full of Russian speakers, except for me, they always spoke in English, or, maybe they would lapse back into Russian, but then another one of our friends would respond back in English, so I could track the conversation. So very courteous. My suspicion is if you're feeling like the odd man out, perhaps they're just taking from different coaches than you are. And I definitely see kind of posses like that. I wouldn't say they're nasty, mean girl cliquish at all, like that movie, but they definitely are going to be friends with the people that they're taking lessons with at the studio every day, that they're showing up to those same comps together. That's normal. Okay, next step. I rolled with these people a long time, which probably made a difference. In my experience, Americans make friends pretty darn fast, more than people from other countries do. And so, I would say it took them longer than I would be used to warm up to me and get to be friends, but true, genuine, long-term, lifelong at this point, friendships. If you're feeling iced out, it might just be more of a cultural thing. I'm just guessing. Next up, I did feel a little bit of that social isolation in a couple different ways. A, they don't exchange the pleasantries like Americans do. Whenever we see each other, hey, how you doing? And you give some sort of superficial response like, hey, doing great, how about you? They don't do small talk. I've even found them to view smiling or expressiveness, laughter, if it's not necessary, seeing it as frivolous, which is just not an American thing. So I don't think it's that you're being iced out at all. I know these people like me, they look out for me. It's just a little bit of a different culture, and that can be hard for them to assimilate, especially when they're hanging out with Russians all the time, right? They're just gonna do what feels natural to them. But I'll bet you, if you watch, which I sure did, that's how they treat each other. It's so funny. When they talk on the phone, they don't really say goodbye. They're just like, so the communication method, I will say, is a little bit more, if it's not needed, we don't do it. My suspicion is if you ask them to speak in English, they probably would. I have taken from many coaches, and I've only taken from 2 that didn't speak English, but they were both Italian. And you know what? They were darn good lessons, so I didn't care. So, final story for you. I know 2 American dancers who actually changed their last names to un-Americanize themselves because one of them thought it would help their marks. They personally thought that. And the other, their coach told them to, though that coach was not like a super elite level dancer. So I think that was totally unnecessary and a waste of their time, but you're not the only person who feels that way. And yeah, from my own personal experience, which is the only experience I can share with you, I never felt anything but all the love and good juju of the ballroom dance community. Okay, I look forward to seeing you first thing tomorrow morning for some more things ballroom dance. And here's some vacay photos. Bye, guys. Hey guys.
Devant nous, le pont. Devant nous, le pont le plus romantique de Paris, le pont Royal. Passons sous ce pont parce que le Dieu est le point d'avance de novice.
The names that are written around the first floor are names of scientists, chemists, engineers Eiffel wanted to pay homage to. He wanted to dedicate the tower to the site. You can visit the first floor. There is the restaurant Brasserie Madame, which is a very nice restaurant. Second floor, it's open to the public, and there's a glass case on the second floor. It's the gastronomic restaurant Jules Verne. If you go there, they have their private elevator, but very expensive and almost fully booked. And then to the top, the third floor, there was the office of Gustave Eiffel. And you can, when you're on top, you can see through a window the wax figure of Eiffel, his daughter Claire. So this is not mine. So it was quiet this afternoon around the Arch of Triumph, but you know, it's the most. In fact, it was buried into 5 coffins. A coffin made of lead, of wood, of iron, and then different kinds of woods to make sure that his body will be well preserved. That's why the 5 coffins were transferred.
En fait, c'est un feignant dans le sens où lui, il a fait tout comme ça 100 fois plus et 100 fois plus riche. Donc heureusement, il s'en fiche un peu. Mais tu vois, tu peux être influencé par